so people can see. Okay, got it. Sorry. Okay, so they're effective, right? And they are, okay, can everybody see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Again, my screen. Okay, awesome. So they're effective, right? We were not going to use them if they're not effective. That's the whole point. And so the same way that they work on the plant, they can use for us for various ailments that we have. Like I was saying before we got kind of stopped, is that a lot of the medicines that we use nowadays were studied from the original compounds of plants, and they were changed, modified a little bit. Something synthetic was added in there. One example I use of that is wintergreen. So the main component in wintergreen essential oil is methyl salicylate. You've heard of salicylates, right? That's aspirin. So it works as a wonderful way to relieve various ailments or pain. So they are effective, and they have been widely studied for their effectiveness in different things. They are potent. So I always, you guys make sure you mute yourself. That will help. So they're very potent. I always remind people that essential oils are about 50 to 70 times more potent than their corresponding herb. Okay, so a little bit goes a long way. So usually when we're talking in dosages, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, 1 to 2 drops is a typical dosage, okay? And so I always tell people there's a great little equation that we use, that 1 drop of peppermint is actually equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So if there's anything that I want to get across to you, it's that they're very potent, and less is more when you use essential oils, okay? So they're natural. This was something that appealed to me a lot because I felt like even when I was buying natural, quote unquote, natural products, I was still looking up some of their chemicals, and they were deemed bad. And I was like, oh my God, can you find anything that's good for your body nowadays? So to know that I'm basically just getting the oil from a plant is super important to me. I love that. So they're very natural. They're only plant derived. We're going to talk in a little bit about how doTERRA makes sure and tests and proves that they're natural. So another reason why you would want to use essential oils is because sometimes they can provide the same effectiveness for various ailments, but with less side effects. So you virtually don't have side effects with a plant-based alternative, okay? You get side effects a lot of times with medications, right, that we take because they've added synthetic components in. I always tell people, they're like, oh, I can't smell things. I don't like smelly stuff. I don't do candles and stuff, so I don't know about essential oils. And I'm like, yeah, but 100% of the candles out there are synthetic. And so that's usually where some of that irritation comes from. But you don't get that same issue with essential oils. So those are 4 great reasons why you could use essential oils and how they could benefit you. And we'll move to the next slide, and I'll let Aryn take over.
Okay, so make sure you have a piece of paper and that you have a pen with you, because this is where we're going to get a little bit interactive. If you have a spouse around you, elbow them because you want to get them involved with this also. So this is one of my favorite parts of the class that we go over. And this is specifically created by doTERRA. It's kind of a visual for you guys to understand why we use essential oils and how they fit into our everyday life. So here we have the foundations to wellness. As you can see, the bottom in the green says eat right. This is your nutrition. This is where I like to say each bite you take is either feeding disease or fighting disease. So think about your last meal that you ate. Take a mental picture and look at it. And I want you to think, was 80% of your last meal fruits or vegetables? And this is where I was saying earlier, it always stuck with me when my pediatric professor in nursing school used to say, the children need to eat the colors of the rainbow. So did you eat the colors of the rainbow on your plate? Was there a variation of different fruits and vegetables that you were eating? I want you to score yourself on each one of these, 0 being none. I'm horrible at it. I don't do it. I don't even think about it. Don't like it. 0 to 10 as I'm perfect. I do it all the time and I can write a book on it. So put a number next to it and circle it. Next is exercise, the yellow. And that's where we talk about meaningful exercise every single day. And I'm not talking about, I work a 12-hour shift in the hospital, I'm moving all the time, that's my exercise. I'm talking about meaningful exercise every day. and it cannot be defined as light. Even if you personally have physical incapabilities that you can't go running or whatever, exerting yourself to a moderate level at least. I want you, again, to rate yourself. Yes, I do that every single day. I do it 30 minutes every day, or I do it once a week. Whatever you rate yourself as, 0 to 10, I want you to rate yourself. Next is rest and management of stress. And this is something that we're really, really bad at as Americans, and especially if you're a mom, we're even worse at it. So rest, are you getting 8 hours of sleep a night? Are you getting meaningful sleep? Is it uninterrupted? Are you waking up refreshed? That's what I mean by rest. This management of stress, are you doing things for you that regenerate you emotionally as well as physically? I was watching a webinar recently, and it was talking about the first 10 minutes of your day should be for you. So the first 10 minutes of your day, are you spending it in prayer? Are you spending it in quiet time? Are you spending it meditating? Are you spending it doing devotional so that you're setting up a stressless environment for the rest of your day? And I want you to rate yourself 0 to 10 on that as well. Next, we go up to reducing toxic load, and that's something that people have never heard before in a lot of cases. So what does that mean, reducing toxic load? That means that we come in contact every single day with chemicals that are not only we're putting on our skin, but we're ingesting through our food, that we're touching through chemicals we use to clean, multiple different ways. So an example of that I like to tell people, that the average newborn that's born in their cord blood has a minimum of 287 chemicals. That should be mind-boggling to you. The study went on, that I read this through, the study went on to specify that 180 of those chemicals that they can find in cord blood are directly related to cancer. So again, that should boggle your mind, and that should really make you think about what you are putting on in your body. So again, I want you to rate yourself 0 to 10. How much do you think about that during the day, and how much does that affect what you do from day to day? That specifically, the rest management, stress management, and reducing toxic load is really where doTERRA likes to step in and say, look, we can help you every single day in multiple different ways, and through our essential oils, and getting you what you need to be successful in that area. So again, think again, 0 to 10 on all these different topics that we just talked about. What do you think long term would happen if you don't rate at least an 8 on each one of these? And I want you to think, why are 1 in 6 couples being told that they can't have children? And why do you think depression and anxiety and sleep issues are absolutely going through the rate, and autoimmune disorders and hormonal imbalances? What do you think is causing all of that? And I think that the answer to that is obviously pretty clear after everything that we've talked about and everything we're going to talk about in this webinar. So then we have a little perforated line that we see here, and above that is healthcare. So that's your informed self-care and your proactive medical care. And that's things like your mammograms and your teeth cleanings and things that we need to do to make sure that we stay healthy on a continual basis. And those are very important. And here is where I specifically want to give credit to modern medicine, because you're talking to an ER nurse here, and you're talking to a nurse practitioner in the ICU, that obviously we value modern medicine, and we think in many cases it's absolutely necessary. So I don't in any way want you to think that we are not advocating for the use of modern medicine in today's time in many cases. But we do believe that essential oils give us the tools that we need to allow our bodies to heal naturally. And we also believe that essential oils are the first step in our healthcare and not the last step in our healthcare. So that's something that I really enjoy going over. And thank you, Eliza, for keeping that up there. If we could go to the next. Now I want to talk about, okay, so now we know that we really do need to start incorporating essential oils into our daily life, and that we have tools that are going to help us create the lifestyle that we're wanting to create. So here it says, how do you use essential oils? And we're going to go through each one of these. And there's 3 main ways that we use essential oils. The first one we're going to talk about here is aromatic or aromatically. And a lot of times that's what people think of when they think of essential oils, boom, automatically, oh yeah, they smell good, or oh yeah, Eliza's holding up her diffuser, I have my diffuser here too, or oh yeah, aromatherapy, right? And absolutely, aromatherapy is great. It's extremely studied, tons of research out there for it. But I want to explain a little bit more beyond that. We can use it aromatically in two ways. One way is through the control of our emotions, like I just said. When we breathe in certain aromas, it goes into our nasal passage to our olfactory bulb. And our olfactory bulb is what recognizes scents. And that is actually directly connected to our limbic system. And our limbic system is a grouping of different structures in our brain, and that's what controls our emotions. So we're actually able to directly control our emotions through the smells that we sense whenever we're using them aromatically. The second way we can use them is we can actually get systemic effect when we use them aromatically through a diffuser. And the way that we do that is very much like if you ever know someone who has asthma or COPD and they use an inhaler, it goes into their bronchioles and their alveoli, and then you start noticing after they start shaking, right? So that shaking is that medication that they just breathed in, and it has had systemic effects on them. So what you do is you breathe it in, and it goes through the mucosa in your nasal passage, as well as through your alveoli into your blood system that way. So that's the two ways that we use it aromatically. Then we can use it topically. Again, there's two ways that we can use it topically. One is for specific application. So an example of that is on my arm here. I have a very specific spot that is red or giving me some form of specific ailment, and I want to apply an oil specifically to that spot to aid in healing or whatever therapeutic benefit I'm wanting to get from it. So that's the first way. The second way is you can, again, get systemic application through applying essential oils topically. This is scientifically proven. We absorb what we put on our skin within 26 seconds. So again, that's how we get all those chemicals that we absorb through our skin that way. To get systemic application, we typically want to use a carrier oil, which we'll go over a little bit more in the next slide. But a carrier oil is an oil that you can use to dilute because, like Eliza said, they're extremely potent, 50 to 70 times more potent than their counterpart in herbs. So we can dilute them in a carrier oil, rub it together, put it over our belly, our feet, wherever we want to put it, and get systemic application that way. It has been scientifically proven that if you do use a carrier oil, it works more effectively for two reasons. One is because, again, you're able to get a larger surface area when you dilute it, as well as it is actually able to penetrate through your skin better and reaches down to the dermis where you have blood supply. And that's how your body absorbs it that way. So the third way we use it is internally. And I want to give a little caveat here, and I want to make sure that you guys hear me very clearly that I, under no circumstance, advocate for the use of essential oils internally unless they are certified pure therapeutic grade. I want you guys to make sure you hear me say that. The way we use them internally is exactly how it sounds. You can put it on your tongue, just swallow it that way. You can put it in some water, take it like a shot that way. There is some oils, like for example, for me, I have taken fennel internally before, and that tastes like licorice. I do not like the taste of licorice. I have several friends who love it. I do not. That would be an oil that I would put into a capsule. They actually have veggie capsules that you can open, put a couple drops inside of, close the capsules, and swallow it that way, and that way you don't have to taste it. But that's how you can use it internally. On the next slide, Liza's going to go over with you some safety topics that are also very, very important to understand.
Of course, I get the slide on safety, right? I'm kidding. And I just noticed a funny typo that we'll talk about in a second. But okay, so essential oil safety. This is super important because we want you to be safe with your oils when you're using them, just like anything else. So we always usually dilute essential oils. There are a couple oils like lavender, melaleuca that we can use. We call it neat. But typically it's really good to dilute that essential oil in a carrier oil. So a carrier oil can be anything that's a vegetable-based oil, okay? You can go grab a scoop of your coconut oil. I guess if it's wintertime, it's really hard to do, right? If it's summer, all of our coconut oils is really liquid. So I like to use fractionated coconut oil. They've actually removed some of those saturated ions from the coconut oil and make it liquid all the time. I love jojoba oil for my daughter. Sweet almond oil is a great carrier oil. Grape seed oil, basically any, like I said, vegetable-based carrier oil for application. And so dilution is really important, and you'll read all different kinds of things about this depending on the resource that you're reading. But the kind of general rule is for adults, it's 1 to 2 drops per teaspoon of carrier oil. For children, it's 1 to 2 drops per 2 teaspoons of carrier oil. And for babies, 1 drop per tablespoon of carrier oil. And sometimes I'm doing this by just like cupping my hand and putting the carrier oil and then dropping my essential oil that I'm using in my hand and rubbing it together. It also is great to use a carrier oil because it gives you a greater amount of product for application, basically. And I've read a couple studies that said using a carrier oil actually got better penetration into the dermis, which is what we're looking for, right? A very effective, powerful effect from the essential oil. So for any skin sensitivity, or that's supposed to be irritation, you can tell I work in medicine, or I guess maybe landscaping, but irritation, I don't know, add more carrier oil. So this is super important. Let's say you're rubbing together an essential oil in your hand, let's say peppermint, and you accidentally touch your eye. And your eye starts to burn. So it's actually recommended that you wash your eye out with milk, because milk has fatty, right, oil in it. And so you always want to dilute whatever more carrier oil. So same thing, you rub it on your skin. Let's say you use a hot oil like clove and you rub it on your skin and you forget to dilute. Well, the only thing that you need to go back and do is just add a bunch more carrier oil, and that's going to calm that redness. That's going to calm that burning feeling that you may have. And I've not had anyone yet have what's called, they test for skin sensitivities for the oils. I've not had anyone have a problem with that. Only if you use a hot oil and you don't use dilution will you see some sort of redness.
Poop comes up and then those.
No, cute, but do me a favor, can you mute yourself? Somebody's cute little kid is talking. Okay, so that's essential oil safety. Like I said, I just want to repeat that if you got it into your eye, wash your eye out with milk. Same thing, like my son one day, he was smelling something and got it on his lips, and all I did was take more carrier oil and put it on his lips. Okay, okay, so now I'm going to turn it back over to Aryn, and she will talk to you about why we use doTERRA.
Okay, so why do I personally use doTERRA? And that's a pretty easy answer for me, because not all oils are created equal by any means. So I'm a visual person, so I like to look at this visual chart here, and I'm going to go through it with you and kind of go over the quality of essential oils and why they're not all created equally. So if you look at this, the vast majority of oils that we come in contact with are synthetic essential oils, and that's what we get in our candles, our plug-ins, our soaps, our lotions, our shampoos, anything that we typically smell synthetically, that would fall under that category. Then we go to the next little pie chart there, or little pie sliver, the green one that we're looking at, and we're looking at food grade essential oils in that one. And what are food grade essential oils? Food grade essential oils are what you typically would find like in gum, or if you go to the grocery store and you look at the back of a package and it says naturally flavored. That would be your food grade essential oil. Next, in the pink, it says therapeutic. Therapeutic is very broad in that term, and I want to be very specific here and kind of go in detail with what I mean by that. Therapeutic is typically what people think of when they think of aromatherapy and that kind of thing. These are the oils that you can get at spas or at your organic market, or typically kind of quote unquote over the counter type essential oils. Then as you see the little sliver here, that's the smaller portion, is your CPTG, and that is your certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils. And what that is that is doTERRA specifically Their promise that we take purity and therapeutic level of our oil very, very seriously. So that's their promise to us, to say, we promise that this is certified pure and therapeutic grade. We're going to go into this in pretty huge detail, but the reason doTERRA has done that for us is because there is no regulatory body for essential oils. Essential oils that you go to the store and you see, and it has a label and it says lavender, 100% pure therapeutic grade lavender. There is no one testing that to make sure that what they're putting on that label is correct. And not only that, but there's no regulatory body saying, hey, if you put this in your line, we're going to find you money and you owe us money, or we're going to take it off the shelves. There's no one doing that. So what we have found is that there is a huge percentage of adulterations in these oils. Specifically, you'll see things like there's fillers, some of them are diluted, there's preservatives, fragrances, stabilizers. And if you think about it, we're using plants and we are using large numbers. Like, for example, again, lavender, you're using 40 pounds of lavender in one 15 ml vial. So you are condensing a lot of oil into a very small amount. And when you're doing that, you are also condensing a ton of pesticides and whatever fertilizer they're using as well, if you're not making sure that these are certified pure. So again, I want you to look here. It says CPTG, and it's kind of two different things in one. So you see the CP is circled, and that's your certified pure, and then you see the therapeutic grade. And I'm going to go a little bit more into the therapeutic grade, and then on the next slide, Eliza's going to go into the certified pure. But the therapeutic grade, how do we know that something is more potent or has more therapeutic properties in its oil versus someone else's oil or what you can get at the store? And that's your therapeutic grade. So this is an analogy I like to use that kind of makes it click for some people. You have a palm tree, and you take that palm tree and you put it down in the Bahamas, and you give it water, and you let the sun hit it, and you let the climate get to it. And then you take that same palm tree and you clone it, and you go and you stick it in the Mojave Desert. You give it the same amount of water, and you give it the same amount of sun, you put it in that climate, and you let it grow. Out of those two palm trees, which one do you think is going to give you the biggest, juiciest, most therapeutic coconuts? It's obviously going to be the one that's in its indigenous environment and it can grow in its healthy environment. So versus the ones that you are putting in America, because it has to be in America and that's where you want to farm it. So what doTERRA is actually doing is going over to different countries where these plants are found indigenously, and that's how they can tell you, we promise you we have more therapeutic compounds in our oils because we're going where they're getting the best nutrients for their oil. So on the next slide, I'm going to hand it back over to Eliza, because Eliza is going to go over what the certified pure really means. And I'm going to hand it over to her because she's actually used some of this equipment and I have not. So I'm going to.
Which is so scary. So certified pure therapeutic grade is actually a certification that doTERRA came up with themselves. Because there is no standardization in the market, doTERRA wanted to set themselves above and beyond what other companies were doing. And this is something that I investigated for months before I actually chose who I was going to buy oils from. And when I started to understand all of the testing that they do on their oils, it made me feel super confident about using them on myself and my family. So they do testing at 3 different stages. They obviously do it where they're harvesting. Organoleptic testing is actually a smell, taste test by a trained professional. But beyond that, which appealed to me in my science mind, was they do GC-MS testing. So that is gas chromatography mass spectrometry testing. I had the privilege of using these types of tests in my undergrad research course at the Complex Carbohydrate Research Center at Georgia a long time ago. And so basically what this does is you inject the chemical or whatever it is, the plant, the essential oil, into a machine, and it basically spits out to you exactly what compounds are in that whatever solution that you injected into the machine. So if there is anything that is not associated with a pure essential oil, they're going to see it. For instance, if there's some sort of pesticide, if there's something that makes it a not, because all the oils have different types of components that they're known for. So if it doesn't meet that specification, then they know that through this GCMS testing. Chirality testing is just what they do. It's a chemical test. I won't get into that. It's really confusing. I don't even want to think about that. It takes me back to organic chemistry and it makes me want to cry. Isotope analysis, just another chemical test that they do to make sure that they have a pure product. And they also test for heavy metals as well as pesticides. And that's super important, right? Because we're putting this on our body or putting it in our body. And the last thing I want to do is be exposed to either more pesticides or heavy metal. And they repeat some of this testing after it's actually shipped to the distribution centers at doTERRA. And they actually, after they bottle and label them, they do a final test on all of these oils before they're actually released for sale. So when I learned all of this, because I investigated a lot of other companies, I was 100% confident that doTERRA was doing the most, more than any other company, to make sure they were providing a pure product. Beyond that, I actually, doTERRA was the only company when I emailed them that were willing to actually release some of these reports to me on some of their oils. They would not do it on some of their proprietary blends, obviously, because those blends are copyrighted for them. But on some of the single individual oils, they were happy to do that. And when they asked me kind of towards the end, okay, would you like us to send this to your email or mail it to you? I was like, no, don't send it. I don't even know how to read those anymore. I just wanted to know that you would actually send it to me. So that made me super confident that the CPTG certification that they actually created, that, you know, they are providing the highest quality essential oils out there. So we'll move to the next slide. This is something that I really, really love about doTERRA. That is just, for me, it's just kind of like the icing on the cake about this company. So they understand that it's super important in this day and age, because they source their oils from all over the world, where the plant grows indigenously. They wanted to make sure that they were impacting the communities that they source the oil from in a very positive way. So they call this strategy co-impact sourcing. And what this does basically is they partnered with various communities all around the world, and they say, hey, listen, we want to pay you a fair wage for the oil that you're producing. We want to help your community and give you an economic provision in life. And we want to empower you to provide for your families. And they do that. And they also have an organization called Healing Hands, where they actually go into some of the communities. Like, for instance, when Nepal had the earthquake and the community was destroyed that they sourced their wintergreen from, and they went back in there and were able to use some of the funds from their organization to rebuild schools, rebuild hospitals, and help, you know, build those communities up. So it's this kind of symbiotic relationship where, yeah, absolutely, they have something that we want, right? They have something that we need, but we don't want to extract that from them in a way that would ever degrade them. We want to say, hey, listen, we have something that we want from you, and we want to pay you for it, and we want to make your lives better for that too. And so they source from over 40 countries from around the world. And I mean, the stories are endless that I've seen. For example, the community that they sourced their vetiver from in Haiti didn't even have running water to it. And so as they kind of partnered with them over a few years, they said, wow, what can we do to make your community better? And one of the guys was like, I mean, if there was some way we could have running water, we wouldn't have to actually walk a few miles every day to get our water. And they made that happen for that community. And that's just pretty awesome. And that actually made it easier for them to actually increase their harvest and harvest more vetiver. And so it's just a beautiful thing that I love about this company. They're there to do good, and they're not there just to get a product and not worry about the communities that they source them from. I could go on about that part actually forever. That could be a whole webinar. But we're going to jump now into our oil spotlights, because I want to get back to actually the oils and helping you understand how we use some of these oils in our daily life. So our first essential oil spotlight is going to be on peppermint. Peppermint is an amazing oil. I'll tell you a little bit about the science behind it, and then I'll tell you how we use it in our house. So peppermint, one of its main components in the oil is actually menthol. So menthol actually activates a protein receptor in our body that is responsible for telling our body it's cool. So people love to use peppermint in cooling sprays or for cooling temperature elevations. I love to use it for temperature elevations in my children. It's great for that. It's a very effective. I have done my own rectal temperature experiment on my child. He had a temperature elevation, but I love to make cooling mist that can be rubbed on if you're outside in the sun, and it actually provides an amazing cooling effect to your body. It's great for muscle tension, so you can rub it into your muscles, and it's great at breaking up some of that tension that's in the fascia of your muscle. Peppermint has actually been very well studied for improving concentration and focus. So my husband actually takes a drop internally every morning if he's going to a meeting or has an important call, and wow, it just invigorates him, wakes him up, keeps him focused. There are a lot of scientific studies on that. And it's actually wonderful for digestion, for promoting great digestion, and for calming any of those digestive upsets that we all tend to suffer from occasionally. Am I missing anything else on peppermint? It has so many uses, Aryn. Anything else you use it for that I didn't mention?
No, head tension is probably one of the big things that I use it for, but I think that you covered pretty much everything that I typically use it for. After working out is a big one. Spray it all over when I'm like beet red and freaking out because I feel like I'm on fire. That's I love that.
No, head tension is great, and that's actually very well proven along with frankincense for head tension. And so another person that I work with that loves to use it during some of her monthly discomforts and some of her hormonal changes she's been going through, she loves to spray herself down with this. Really helps her with temperature elevations. So our next oil spotlight, I'm going to let Aryn take over. It's of course lovely.
I know. I'm so excited to talk about lavenders because I think when people think about essential oils, for some reason, again, I think that their head just kind of, oh, lavender. Yeah, we all know what that is, right? It's lavender essential oil. But I kind of want to point out that you think you know what lavender smells like because you have been programmed to think you know what it smells like through synthetic means, especially through your baby products, lotions, different things that you'll smell in stores such as candles. But I want to tell you that unless you have smelled doTERRA's CPTG essential oil of lavender, it's actually kind of concerning how different it is and how we've been programmed to think that these synthetic chemicals are what these things really smell like, because it's not at all. And I actually really, really like the way that the lavender smells. I want to go over some safety things first. Lavender is one of those great oils that can be applied neat. Like she has said previously, that's just without dilution, and you can apply it directly to any areas of concern. You obviously want to dilute it accordingly if you're going to be applying it to children or babies for that matter, but it is safe to use during pregnancy and as well as if you're nursing. The most common uses for lavender is for its calming effects and its relaxing qualities. It's really good for reducing feelings of tension, and I think that's what most people do kind of know, that that's what lavender is great for, and that's why we always associate it with spas and relaxing things. But lavender is so much more than that. Lavender is really good for soothing skin irritations. It's also good for reducing skin imperfections. Ways I use it on a daily basis, I have a little mixture that I have made that I use on my son's tushy during diaper changes, just because it's so soothing, and especially if I notice any redness or discomfort, I always use that on his hiney. I put 1 to 2 drops. I mix it with some aloe whenever I come in from the sun, because I'm so pale, I always become red. So I'll mix lavender and some aloe, and I'll apply it all over after sun exposure for that reason. I put 1 to 2 drops in my son's bath at night, and then I'll actually dilute it in some carrier oil, put it on the bottom of his feet, put it on the bottom of my feet, and then I put a couple drops in his diffuser in his room at bedtime, and then I also put a couple drops in my diffuser in my room at bedtime, and that just helps aid in healthy sleep cycles and sleep patterns. I also have a little spray that I keep next to my bed, and it's just water and some lavender, a couple lavender drops. I shake it up and spray my pillow, spray my sheets, things like that. And then I also have wool balls that I use in my dryer. And this is a little sidebar. If you guys have dryer sheets, please throw them out. They are so toxic. I highly encourage you to Google or just look up, under reliable sources, of course, what are in your dryer sheets and what you are unknowingly exposing your family to, because it's really, really concerning. So as soon as I did that, they were out the window, not in my house anymore. Don't even use fabric softeners. I have wool balls that I use. I have 3 of them. They kind of look like tennis balls, and I just put a couple drops of lavender on each one of them, stick them in my dryer, because I still do appreciate having fresh clothes that smell like something that when they come out of the wash. So lavender's kind of my go-to for that. Is there anything else that you use it for that I missed there, Eliza?
No, and I think you mentioned it's anti-inflammatory, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's really great for redness, irritation that you might have on your skin. But yeah, lavender is amazing.
It is. Lavender's great. I love it.
Okay, next one, lemon. I love lemon. So lemon is citrus, of course. It's actually cold pressed. It comes from the rind. They source their lemons from southern Italy. All of the citrus oils are known for their uplifting effect. So there's a lot of studies out there aromatically that citrus oils can impact your mood and uplift your mood. And I want to say that really quick about just aromatic that we kind of didn't mention, but if you're burning candles, you're essentially off-gassing chemicals into your home. Don't get me wrong. I used to buy super expensive. I loved candles. I wanted my house to smell great. I had a Glade plug-in in like every eye socket of my house, and so they're all toxic. So all candles are made with synthetic fragrance, and most of the wicks are dipped in petroleum to make them burn. So you're essentially off-gassing chemicals into your home. So lemon is a great oil to actually diffuse, not only to give kind of a cleansing to your house, make it smell, fresh and clean, but it's super mood uplifting. It is a wonderful degreaser. I didn't realize I was diffusing lemon a lot, and I put a drop or 2 of lemon in my water, which is, by the way, the bee's knees. It's awesome. But I didn't really realize until probably about 6 or 7 months ago that lemon is a wonderful degreaser. So if you've been working in anything that's greasy, it's a wonderful, to put in your hand wash. I use it in a window cleaner. I actually mix my window cleaner of just water, vinegar, and lemon. And it's amazing how it cleans the windows. No streaks, perfectly clear. I use it on my wood floors. I use it as a furniture polish. And I actually combine that with a little bit of olive oil. I love lemon for that. And it's a natural spot remover. And I have to thank Aryn for finding that out, because Ty had completely annihilated a bib, I think, with blueberries. And she sent this picture. She's like, okay, so I looked it up, see if there was anything I could use for essential oils for Ty, for the blueberries. And I mean, man, it got it out. It wasn't completely perfect, but it was
pretty close. It was surprising how amazing it looks, because it was a white bib. I totally wasn't using my head, and put a white bib on him and gave him blueberries.
And so I've used it ever since then as a spot remover. It's a great spot remover. And just remember that these are not going to stain your clothes. You might see a little mark if you get it on your clothes, but as soon as you wash them, remember they're volatile, so it's going to wash out. So lemon's great for that. Next up is On Guard.
Okay, so On Guard is one of doTERRA's proprietary blends that I think a lot of people, when you hear the doTERRA, if you've ever heard of doTERRA before, immediately they think of On Guard. And it's just because it's one of those very unique oils that are that awesome. So doTERRA's On Guard is to support healthy immune function and protect against environmental threats. And it supports the body's natural antioxidant defense. So as far as the ingredients of On Guard, it is, let me look it up here. It's wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. And the reason I want to read that and go over it with you is because I have a little fun fact for you here. We grade superfoods that we eat. I think we all know what superfoods are, right? Superfoods that we eat based off of how high they grade on their antioxidant level. And we grade that based off of the ORAC scale. So I'm going to go over this with you. Spinach rates on the ORAC scale 1,260. Blueberries are 2,400. And clove, which is the second ingredient, is 1,078,700. So we are condensing clove oil and then applying it into a proprietary blend that has other protective and other defensive properties for our immune system. And we are basically overwhelming our body with antioxidants. And it's amazing that we're able to do this. So I want to go over again some safety stuff. Safety, you always want to use this very cautiously when you're using it topically in children. You want to dilute it heavily just because of the clove and the cinnamon can cause skin irritation. And again, it's not recommended for infants and young babies, children, simply because of that reason. So you want to make sure you do dilute it pretty heavy if you're going to be using it on anyone with sensitive skin or anything like that. But ways that I like to use On Guard, and I use it all the time, I like to diffuse it in the air because it does support healthy respiratory function. It's also
like Christmas.
I know, it's so awesome. And it also cleanses the air just because of the purifying properties that it has inside of it. You can put 2 or 3 drops inside that veggie capsule that I was telling you about for a quick immune boost. If you have children and it's the winter months or fall months, you want to apply it to their feet before they go to school to help protect them. If you work in a hospital or if you ever go into a hospital, you want to make sure that you put this on your feet or you take it internally because you want the immune boost. You can also add it to some water or some vinegar and mix it and use it in a spray as an antibacterial type for an all-purpose cleaner that you can use on your different surfaces. And because, like Eliza just said, of its spicy, sweet aroma, it is perfect in the fall and in the winter just to diffuse around the house because of the way it smells. And then you can use it for the added benefit that you're boosting your immune system and you're cleansing the air and you're supporting healthy respiratory function. So it's a win-win-win on that count. But On Guard is so unique and so amazing that doTERRA kind of recognizes that, and they've made several different products with On Guard oil inside of it. They've made toothpaste, which I use and I love because it's like brushing your teeth with cinnamon. I love cinnamon. They also have detergent. So whenever I come home and my scrubs are all disgusting and I don't want those germs inside of my house, I put it in my washer, put my On Guard detergent inside of it. They also have hand soap, and I have recently gotten rid of all of the antibacterial hand soap in my house because I recently read a study that the ingredient that they typically use in antibacterial hand soaps have been directly linked in lab rats to neuromuscular disorders. So I don't want that anywhere near my child or anywhere near me. So hand soaps have gone out the window, and I now use On Guard just because I do like an additional property in my hand soaps to help make sure that I am getting it super clean. And then the next spotlight, I'm kind of jealous that Eliza gets to go over this one because it's that good and I'm super obsessed with it.
I don't know what I would do with kids without balance. I don't know. It would not be good. So Balance is a proprietary blend. doTERRA employs chemical doctors to come up with these blends that they know are good for certain things. So Balance is a blend of spruce wood oil, hoe wood oil. So it has kind of that super clean, foresty kind of smell, frankincense, blue chamomile, and blue tansy. And y'all, it's called Balance for a reason. It's called a grounding blend. So I use this mainly for emotional aromatherapy. I diffuse it. I love to put it in my diffuser necklace when I go to work because working in the ICU, never not stressful. And I love to rub this. I call this my 4 o'clock, let's hope nobody dies today oil. Like it's 4 o'clock. Daddy's not home from work yet. The kids are driving me crazy. I love to just rub it on my temples. Smell it, count to 5, take a deep breath. It's incredibly grounding. It's a wonderful oil to use for that emotional aromatherapy when you just feel kind of off, you don't feel like yourself, or for anger, tension, when you feel frustrated. It's something that I use daily in my life. I think that doTERRA knows that people use this so much, it's actually already diluted. So they already dilute it with fractionated coconut oil. So it's like, you don't even have to wait the time of diluting it. You're like, I just drop it in my hand and rub it all over my neck. But it's super powerful. And it's one of those things, I cannot tell you for myself I understand that frankincense has amazing properties of grounding, amazing properties of helping uplift your mood. But I cannot tell you the science behind how this impacts me. It's just amazing. It just works. It makes me feel better. And I can't describe it other than that. And Aryn, I don't know if you want to piggyback on that about balance. It's pretty awesome.
No, I'm glad that you touched on the whole diffuser necklace, because I recently got one. And I seriously, it's kind of embarrassing because I like walk around, especially when I'm.
Oh, that's why I do it weird.
Like, it's pretty awesome. I highly recommend it if you do not have one. But my friend Dawn, who's also on this webinar, she said that she used some to help her relax and go to sleep one night, and that it's the best sleep she's had in a really, really long time. So there's
yay, Dawn, it's awesome.
So many different uses
sleep, right? We'll move to the next slide, and you can talk about resources, Aryn.
Okay, so again, this is kind of how Eliza and we've known each other for several years, but this is how we got connected as far as essential oils go. She was hosting a 3 or 4 day class, online that I attended, and I was just kind of a way for me to understand that there's a lot of misinformation out there. That's why I tell people, please be very, very careful. They'll tell me, oh, I've been looking at essential oils and I've been looking them up online and things like that. Please be very, very careful. Make sure you're actually reviewing the scientific studies and the research behind it. Make sure you're talking to people who spend the time to read the research behind it and are giving you correct information. And there are good resources out there. You don't just have to always consult a wellness advocate, even though we're always here for you because we enjoy reading the research because we're total nerds about it. But there are resources for you if you would like to have them at your fingertips. Modern Essentials textbook as well as the Essential Life textbook, those are 2 different textbooks that have different research in them that can talk about the different blends as well as the single oils, what chemical compounds they have in them, how you can use them effectively, how you use them safely, what's good for children, what's okay for pregnancy, what's okay for nursing, things like that, as well as you can look up specific ailments and them tell you specifically, this is what we recommend. First line, second line, third line, this is how you use it. So it's been great in my journey. Those are 2 very good resources. Then there's also aromaticscience.com and Essential Oil University. And both of these are very scientifically backed also. Great resources. I don't want to go without saying also just doTERRA.com, their website in and of itself is a wealth of knowledge. They have different tabs that you can go under that have blogs for different recipes if you're looking for something specific, but they also have a science blog, and that's where they post the latest research and post the latest research of why they're using these different oils in these different ways and why they're blending their oils the way that they blend their oils so that you can review it yourself and see firsthand that this is scientifically backed and this is why they're making the decisions that they're making. On the next slide, again, this is kind of how Eliza and I got connected with her webinar that she did, or her 4-day class that she did. Now, I had been using doTERRA for a really, really long time, and I had been using doTERRA retail prices. And when I watched her class and she got to the end of it and explained the wholesale membership, y'all, I could have thrown something across the room. I was really upset that I had been buying these oils for retail. And then you always hear friends don't let friends buy retail. There's a reason for that, you guys. So I want to go over that and make sure that we're real clear that you totally understand all the savings behind what you get when you are a wholesale member with doTERRA. So being a wholesale member is exactly like they do with Costco or Sam's Club or something like that. It is a $35 investment for an entire year of access to doTERRA's oils, and you get everything retail price, so 25% off once you've paid that initial fee. That is good for 1 year. If you decide to do that, you're going to be so obsessed by the second year, there's no way you're going to let that membership lapse. So you're going to pay $25 the second year, and you get a free bottle of peppermint, which is retail for $27. So you're essentially just getting that for free. One of the big perks, again, like I said, the wealth of misinformation, is you get access to personal support 24/7. So what that means is you get assigned a wellness advocate. So that is me, 24/7, wealth of knowledge all the time, or Eliza, 24/7, or whoever specifically invited you to this webinar. That would be your personal support 24/7. And when I say I've gotten text at 2:30 in the morning asking me a question about oils, I'm not lying. And I've heard it, and I've gotten up and I've researched it and I've texted them back. Because typically if you're getting a text at 2:30 in the morning for oils, it's something serious. So I want to make sure we're real clear on that, as well as you get access to endless free webinars, endless free classes. You get added to 4 different Facebook support groups. So if there's something that you don't have time to text me about or call me about, or you're already on Facebook and you're like, oh, I'm already added to these support groups, I'm just going to ask. Like one the other day was, my kids' hair is green, they've been in the pool, what do I use? Just things like that. And then boom, 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 here's what I've used. These are all different things that I've used and been successful with. You also get quarterly magazines, you get newsletters, you get special offers that only membership values go out to. So that's specifically the retail pricing and the support you get, but that also qualifies you for what's called your loyalty rewards program, but you'll hear us call it the LRP. And what this is a system of rebates that's used on a point system. So typically within this system, $1 value is 1 point value. And how this works is you create a withstanding monthly order that you can edit and tailor to your monthly needs, but it continues to process through on the same time each month. And the reason that this is such a great program and why it's called the Loyalty Rewards Program is, as you can see in this little chart, the longer you use it, the more percentage off of your products you get rebated to you. So this is a rebate program where initially you'll start off with a 10% rebate, then you'll go up to a 15% rebate. And remember, this is in addition to your 25% off retail value. So let's say you're on month 4 and you're ordering something, you add the 25 and the 15% and you're looking at 40% off your oils. And it gets even better than that because you get your shipping, which is 9 point values, rebated to you. So you're essentially getting free shipping. So the savings is just undeniable, and it's there, and it's pretty amazing. And I really wish someone had explained all of this to me before, because the other month, I think maybe like last month or maybe the month before, I was able to cash in $90 worth of points for free oils that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, plus get it at retail value. It's kind of a no-brainer. So that's what I wanted to make sure that I went over, and I just really wanted to make sure everyone really understood that there is significant value in becoming a wholesale member. So on the next slide here, you're probably like, I want these oils, I want them all. Whoa, slow down. So we have 3 different kits here that we have highlighted. There are multiple different kits. Eliza and I have found that these 3 kits are typically the ones that people tend to gravitate towards. And there's 2 reasons that we really do advocate for starting out with a kit. And the first one is because your $35 membership fee is included inside your kit. So with that kit, you also already get everything. A lot of times I'll teach a class and they'll kind of look at me at the end of the class and go, I want everything. I don't know what to get. Like, what are the ones that I need to start out with? How do I start? And that kind of thing. So these kits have already been formulated to put you out on the right foot, as well as being successful in your journey long term. So the Family Essentials kit is what I started out with, and that was what allowed me to completely clear out my medicine cabinet and go from a natural standpoint. The Home Essentials kit is the exact same oils that are in the Family Essentials kit, except for it's a full-size 15 ml vial, and you're also getting your diffuser, because you definitely want to get a diffuser.
Oh yeah,
a natural solution. What?
I wish I had known that from the beginning, because then I ended up buying one for like every room.
I know, right? The Natural Solutions kits give you all the oils, as well, the foundational oils, as well as products like your fractionated coconut oil, which you want to make sure that you do purchase if you're going to be getting oils today. Also, your toothpaste that I told you, you get a diffuser, you get different hand soaps, your Deep Blue, which is amazing. That's a rub that you can get rid of your Bengay and all the chemicals that are in that, because it's amazing rub. My mom specifically has had great success with that on her chronic back issues. So these are just 3 kits. And also with the Natural Solutions kit, with the Natural Solutions kit, I want to make sure that you guys also know that this actually puts you at a 15% LRP rebate. So you're not just starting out at the 10%, but this is bumping you up to starting out at 15% with your rebate percentages. So that's just quick for that. Something I did not touch on, so I kind of want to go back for your LRP and your wholesale membership. I want to make sure I'm very clear because I have had people contact me before. Thanks for going back. Contact me before and ask me some questions because I think that they think this is a little bit too good to be true. But I want to make sure that you guys are aware that for the 25% off retail price, there is no minimum monthly order for that. You are locked in for an entire year with the 25% off. And there are no requirements. And that does not mean that you have to sell or start a business with doTERRA by any means. 85% of people who sign up as a wholesale membership are doing so simply for the discount. So I just want to make sure I give that little disclaimer. So if you guys need to contact me after I've already answered that question. And then I'm going to hand it back over to Eliza.
Okay, so we wouldn't take you all through this journey of learning without talking about some freebies today that we are offering and that doTERRA is offering. So if you enroll with a kit today or in the next few days with the person who invited you, you actually will get a free Modern Essentials guide from us. So this is a big textbook that basically will answer all of your questions about oils. I started doing this for all of my people because I just couldn't know that someone was getting a kit of oils and not having any resource to actually start using them. I didn't have this book in the very beginning, and I was kind of lost. I was like Googling stuff all the time, looking stuff up. And then when I got this book, it really, really changed the way that I use oils. It has a section in the back that has almost every ailment that we deal with. And so you can look that up, and it has specific oil protocols. But if you enroll with a kit with us, then you will get a free one of these books from us. And doTERRA is so awesome. They're actually offering some freebies this month. Y'all, this is an awesome promo. So you get a free bottle of lemon, lavender, and peppermint with any 160 PV order in August. So for the kits that we talked about, that would be the Home Essentials kit or the Natural Solutions kit. Okay, you wouldn't qualify for this if you only got the Family Essentials kit. Plus in August, they have 10% their blend of Intune. I love this. It's their Focus blend. I use this on a daily basis, especially when I'm at work. It's amazing. But that's an amazing promo, and that's coming from doTERRA, not from us, the wellness advocates. That's just a bonus, and that's pretty awesome because those are 3 of your top oils that you're going to use on a regular basis. And Aryn, did you want to jump in and say anything about those freebies before I move to the final?
No, I already have a couple people who have signed up and gotten the Intune because it's that awesome.
Yeah,
and it's about school starting back, so that's definitely something that if you foresee yourself needing, I would jump on that deal right now and make sure that you get that.
Yeah, 10% off on that is awesome. So you guys, with that, we are going to close the class. I know we ran a little bit over. I'm really sorry about that because I want to be very respectful of your time. So what I want to say again is that when you enroll, you get us. It's not like you enroll, you get your oils and you never hear from us again. Actually, you're kind of stuck with us if you enroll. So we're here to help you on this journey to make sure that you're using your oils appropriately, to make sure that you feel comfortable with that. So you really get us when you enroll too. And so what I want to remind everyone to do is to actually, after this webinar is completed, to contact the person who invited you and they will help you with enrollment, okay? And so we don't have a link for that right now. It's just gonna be a simple you messaging the person that invited you and they'll walk you through the process. And with that, I will stop sharing. So, because I haven't been able to see everyone's faces while I've been sharing. And if you guys have any questions, I see a lot of stuff in the chat box.
And remember, you're still recording also.
Okay, awesome. Should I stop recording? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. And